Good morning. Good morning. It's Sunday, 11 a.m. Eastern, January 12th. How's everybody doing today? We're going to talk a little bit about expectations, beliefs around those expectations. We're going to talk about what you think. As humans, we think something like 70,000 thoughts a day, and 95% of them are the same thing. So are they positive? Are they negative? We're going to recap the grip. And then we're going to dive into stance and posture. Stance and posture, the key out there is to have dynamic balance throughout the entire swing, to stay poised and balanced throughout the swing. So let's recap the grip. So the left-handed grip or the right-handed grip for left-handed golfers, we're going to place the club so that the shaft is under the muscular pad of the heel and also lies across the top joint of the forefinger. And the main pressure points are the last three fingers. And then the V should point to the right eye, right up to this right eye. And then, so that's the grip with the left hand. It's also pressure point number 2 and power accumulator number 2. So yes, over the next 7 weeks, we're going to be working on the grip, the stance, the posture, the first part of the backswing and the second part of the downswing. But the grip here, we also have pressure point number 2 and power accumulator number 2. So we'll be talking more about the advanced stuff of how to accumulate power and how to release it. So this is the left-handed grip. You place the club so that the shaft is pressed up under the muscular pad of the heel and also lies across the top of the forefinger, the joint of the forefinger. And then the main pressure points are the last three fingers in the heel pad. And then the V should point to the right eye. Thumb is right down the shaft. For me, it's just slightly top right. Square face. So then the right hand, it's a finger grip. These two middle joints, the shaft should lie across the top joint of the fingers, but definitely below the palm. So it's not going to be a palm grip, it's in the joints. The two middle fingers apply most of the pressure, and you can practice with the thumb and the forefinger off the shaft, just with these two fingers and the pinky applying the pressure. The two middle fingers apply most of the pressure. Practice with the thumb and the forefinger off the shaft. And the V points directly to the chin. So this V points right to the chin. And you can practice with the thumb and the pincher fingers off. And now, as far as pressure point number 1, it's to the right hand palm. So we'll talk about the completed grip. Both hands should work together as one unit. The little finger of the right hand locks into the groove between the forefinger and the big finger of the left hand. And the left thumb should fit snugly in the cup of the right palm. And that's pressure point number 1, where the center of this palm presses down on the thumb. And so since the right hand for a right-handed golfer, when I bend this elbow, that's power accumulator number 1. So when I come back, I've got power accumulation in this angle here. And then when I release it, it's just straightening out the arm. It's the muscular action, the tricep extends. So that's power accumulator number 1. And pressure point number 1 is the thumb pressing down on the left thumb on the shaft. And now I've got this extensor action. So on the backswing, the left arm straight. On the downswing, the right arm straight. And you have this radius that stays consistent. So this is the recap of the grip Got the left-handed grip, the right-handed grip, both hands. You should have practiced that for a full week. I know I played golf on Wednesday and had one of my better starts of the round, and I went through my entire routine of the grip. I made sure that I had my practice swings with my routine. I made sure that I was visualizing where I wanted my shoulders to go, my path, and I made sure that my trail leg was stable. We're going to lead right into that with the stance and posture to make sure that we have that stability and balance throughout the swing. So that's the recap of the grip training last week. You should have spent 7 days practicing your grip. This week we're going to spend 7 days working on stance and posture. This is basic stuff, but I've done it every year, and I do it every year since I've been playing golf, just going over the fundamentals from grip, stance and posture, the first part of the swing, and then the second part of the swing, which is the downswing and the follow through. We'll cover those over the next 7 weeks because we want to spend 30 minutes a day working on the grip for 3 weeks, because then it's going to become a perfect trained habit. And today we're going to go into the stance. And this is, like I said, this is right out of Ben Hogan's book, The 5 Fundamentals of Golf. And so the proper stance and posture enable you to stay perfectly balanced and poised throughout the golf swing. Because when you get out of balance is when you make bad shots, just like when your car's out of balance. So the first thing I'm going to go over some of the really, when Hogan wrote this book, anything that was all capitalized was rather important. So the feet should be set apart, the width of the shoulders when you're playing a standard 5-iron shot. They are set somewhat closer together when you play the more lofted clubs, somewhat wider, the width of the shoulders. So here I have in my hand a 6-iron. So the width of my shoulders right here. Basic stance, feet width. And what Hogan also talked about was what the right foot does. There is one correct basic stance. The right foot is a right angle to the line of flight, and the left foot is turned quarter out. So the right foot for standard shots is 90 degrees square here, and then the left foot is opened up about 22 degrees. And what that does is when you have this square here, it acts as a governor, because if it's more open, it allows my body to turn more. If it's square, it acts as a governor. And then if this was square, well, when I come down, I'm eventually going to have to turn it this way or worry about rolling my. So if we start 22 degrees open, and we drive our weight towards the ball of that left foot, and then it gets to the heel and rolls over, all energy flows towards the target. All energy flows towards the target. If I start with my left foot open, it's one less movement throughout the golf swing. So I have my right foot square, my left foot open about 22 degrees, and then my energy can flow towards that left foot, and then my weight gets up here. As you all know, we did the balance drill when we did the fitness evaluation. How long can you stand on your left foot with your eyes closed? And that's why we're working on strengthening your balance. So that's what we're doing with the feet. It makes it appreciably easier for the golfer as he or she goes into his backswing to feel and control the muscles that should initiate the swing. Second, the correct stance acts as a perfect automatic governor on the amount of hip turn the golfer can take and should take on the backswing. So if your left foot is correctly positioned on the other, if your left So you can go through the ball with everything you've got if your left foot is open and you're not going to worry about rolling that ankle. So the governor, as we talk about this right foot, if it's open here and I try and get way back here, you're just going to lose control. When a golfer overturns his hips going back, since he cannot move forward by the proper means, using the hips himself, he has to call an incorrect source of power, his right shoulder. And so that's, when we all started golf, if you've never taken lessons or understood how the body works with the dynamics of the swing, if we get way back here, first thing that's going to happen is that shoulder's going to take over, and we all may develop or have some type of over the top or a slice. So during the swing, one of the two arms is always extended. And there's a good reason for this. In order for the club to travel at its maximum arc, one arm must be extended at all times. If one of the two arms is always extended, the arc will be uniform. Gives you a far better chance of building a correct, powerful, repeating golf swing. And so we have our grip, pressure point number 2, power cue number 2. We put pressure point number 1 on there. That's that extensor action. And so to train that, you just take your right hand and put it on your left wrist. You just extend out your right arm, push out your tricep, and there's an extensor action. It's the same thing when you take the grip and press down on the thumb. It's an extensor action. And so when I bend my right elbow, I'm still pressing down on the thumb or the left hand on the grip, straightening out. I always want to continually to pull out this left arm with this pressure, even though I'm bending my right elbow. That's an extensor action. So there's pressure on the thumb to hold out that left arm, and then when I drive down, eventually the left arm will bend. So for those of you joining new this week, talked about last week and the week before to get Ben Hogan's 5 lessons, because we're going to be covering this. I do this every single year. Been doing this since 1991, going through this book and making sure. And for those of you that are professionals, you have some accountants, CPAs, realtors. We all have continuing education. And so this is continuing education to continually educate yourself on making sure that you still have the proper grip, making sure you still have the proper stance, making sure you still have the proper takeaway, and then downswing sequence. And this book is going to walk you through some of the basics. If you've never been trained on them, or if you have been trained on them, it's a refresher course. The left arm ideally should operate as if it were extension of the shaft. So this is what we talk about pressure point number 4. So when I have the pressure in my fingers in my lead hand, that's pressure point number 2. And when I cock up this club, that's power cue number 2. That means I've accumulated power in this angle. And when I release that angle, that releases power. So same thing with the left arm. It's an extension of the shaft. When I shorten this angle between my arm and my chest, and I put pressure from the inside of this bicep against the chest muscle, there's pressure there. So that's pressure point number 4. And as I extend that arm back, that accumulates power. And when I fling my arm off my chest, that releases that power and it releases that pressure point. So that's pressure point number 4 and power accumulator number 4. So now I've got 4 ways to accumulate power, and 2 of them are on the lead arm. I cock this wrist and bend the club up. There's an angle there, 90-degree angle. And then I extend my left arm up. There's an angle there. So now I've got this angle between my shaft, my arm, and my arm in my chest. And then when I start the downswing, I can release 2 and 4, and now I've got some pretty good power. The closer you keep your 2 arms together, the better they will operate as one unit. The upper part of the arm should be pressed very tightly against the sides of the chest. So Hogan talked about power cube number 4, but he just talked about keeping it pressed there. And the closer you keep your arms together, if you have a look at this image that you've probably seen in your life, my arms are out here, my elbows are bent, your radius is not going to be the same, and you're not going to have consistency. But if my arm is always extended, my right elbow comes in underneath here, and I take pressure point number 1, which is the palm pad of the right hand or the trail hand, and I press down on the thumb, and I extend out. I use that extensor action. It's pretty easy to keep the arm straight, and it's easy to feel this pressure of the upper part of the inside of the arms against the sides of the chest. Extensor action, pressure points there. Got my right foot square to the target line, and my left foot open. Pretty solid there. The elbow should be tucked in. There should be a sense of fixed jointness between the 2 forearms and the wrist. The pockets will be facing towards the sky. These are the pockets. These pockets will be facing towards the sky. And I can use power cue number 2, cock up. I can use power cue number 1, bend the right elbow, and I'm set. Momentum will carry me with a full backswing. Boom. So when we do the step change direction in the training, in the members area, if I get here, by the time my arm gets to here, I'm already changing direction. That means my weight's already on my left side. Same thing with the backswing. If I just cock power cue number 2, and turn to number 3, and then I bend power cue number 1, by the time I get here, just like with the step change direction, when the arm gets to about here, I start to change my weight. I'm fully loaded. I've already got most of my weight on my right foot, my lead foot, and then all I have to do is just simply turn down. I don't have to shift and then turn. I've already shifted my weight prior to finishing my backswing. That was one of Hogan's greatest secrets to great ball striking. He didn't have to worry about timing, shifting and turning at the same time, because he shifted his weight before he finished his backswing, and that's when he said, just turn the hips, and then everything else will start behind. The hips, the shoulders, the arms, the hands, and then the full finish. It helps you find if the upper part of the right arm adheres as closely as possible to the side of the chest. Well, one of the secrets in golf is this right forearm for right-hand golfers and left forearm for left-handed golfers. So for right-handed golfers, the matching the right forearm. And this forearm has a lot to do with the plane. So when we can control the shaft, we can control the club face, and we can control the club head, we can control the ball. So the way we control the face is with our grip. That's why we take great training and practice and effort, 30 minutes a day for 21 days, to make sure you have the right grip. Okay, we can control the face with the left hand. Every time, if I have the right grip, that's going to come right where I want it, whether it's slightly open, slightly closed, or square, depending on the shape of the shot I want to make. That's controlling the club face. When we control the club head, that's that pressure point in the trail finger, this little side of the joint, on the shaft, on the side of the shaft, pressing towards the target. That index finger, that little pincher finger, is pressure point number 3, and it controls the club head. I can sense the club head with this pressure point. That's the secret to golf, right there. I can just sense that pressure point. So if I can control the club face with my left hand, I can control the club head with my right finger. The index finger, the side of it, I can sense that pressure. I can feel the club head. I can direct the club head, the sweet spot of the club head, to the ball, the piece of the ball that I want to hit directly. And so the magic of the right forearm for right-handed golfers and the magic of the left forearm for left-handed golfers ideally should control the club shaft. So if we look at, if I'm standing here, when I turn this open, that's power cube number 3. And when I bend my right elbow, that's power cube number 1. If I just keep this arm close to my side here, how many times out of 1,000 times could I go like this to this, this to this, this to this? I can do that 1,000 out of 1,000 times. That's the magic of the right forearm. So the closer you keep it to your chest, the more easier it is for you to control it on the way down. And this is also going to control whether or not you're going to come over the top. What this forearm is doing. If this forearm comes here and it automatically starts to come over this way, that's going to come over the top. But if it comes here and it just comes right back to here, you get in that slot. The reason why I put it in the slot, notice what my hips are doing. My hips are leading everything, and this arm is just trailing behind, connected to my side. That's why if we do take a backswing and it does come off, the first thing has to come down is connect back to the side and let the hips come through, and this just comes right through here. The magic of the right forearm. So I'll take a real short backswing. I'll keep that arm connected to the side just for practice purposes. Here, and then back right through here. It's the same thing as doing this. Now, if I do decide that I want to get a full width and it comes up here, that's fine. I'm not going to start down with it. We've already trained. Once we get back here, my weight's already here. Then all I do is I just turn my hips. This comes in, and bam. Most of my weight's already on my front foot. Full width takeaway, backswing. Weight's on the front. Turn. This comes down, connects. So we can also just train it this way. Cock up. We'll turn this. We're going to turn this forearm. We're going to roll it out. Supinate it on the way back and pronate it on the way through. Supination, pronation. We'll open it up. We're going to turn it back and we're going to roll it through. But we're going to roll it through back to square at impact. And we're going to turn our body. We're not when we get to impact, we're not turning it more. And when we're getting to follow through, we're not turning it more. We're just maintaining it where it was. And the body, the momentum will carry us this way. It may appear like it's rolled over, but it's still perfectly square or right in front of my body, not this. So we're going to roll it back to square. We're not going to over roll it and get a dreaded hook. And sometimes when we get that fade or push, we don't turn enough. So when we turn back, we don't roll it enough, we keep it wide open, it veers off to the right. Michael, good morning. Scott Petro, good morning. Mr. Anderson, we're talking about that in the Matrix. Hi, Ann. Hello, Dave. Hello, Todd. Hello, Mr. Chitren. You guys have any questions so far? We got a lot more to cover. So it helps if the upper part of the right arm adheres as closely as possible to the side of the chest. And so when you talk about there's two ways to swing a club, there's centrifugal force and centripetal force. Centrifugal force, whereas if I take this straight up, well, the first move should be down. It's kind of like when you get up here and you're pulling those ropes with the big bell towers and you're pulling the rope to make the bell sound. First move up here is down, and then boom. Let's see here. Oh, good morning, yes, good morning. So let's see here. We're on page 50. Two arms were equal sides of a triangle with the club emerging like the spires of a steeple at the peak with the arms joined together. So at address, the right elbow points directly to the right hip bone. The elbows then can fold correctly in a backswing. At address, the left elbow points directly at the left hip bone. Now we're going to get in the sitting position. When the golfer assumes the semi-sitting position, the upper part of the player's trunk remains relatively erect as he bends to the knees and the knees point in. The sit-down motion is like lowering yourself about 2 inches onto a spectator sports seat. So, stand here, 2 inches down, there. So here, if we talk about what we did in fitness last week, when we put our foot out here and we just slightly sit down like that, notice how my weight, my butt leads the center of my gravity backwards. Right, like that. So you take a club here, and you have your weight on your foot, and you stick here, and you just stick your butt out, watch my planted leg, you'll see how my butt moves back the center of gravity. It's the same thing here, where I'm just slightly going to sit down, my center of gravity, my butt is taking everything back. My arms are here. And some of us have this arched over S posture, some of us have a neutral posture, some of us have an S posture. So what you can do to correct that is just keep your posture, and if you notice a bit of a arch like that, just tucking your pelvis, and then arch your pelvis. Tucking your pelvis, and arch your pelvis. And if you can do this for, 4 minutes a day, and you're going to feel a workout, number one, but you're also going to feel where the center is between two extremes. So if I have a real S shape in my arch back here, it's going to cause a lot of back pain when you swing. And then there's an over C here, and I just find somewhere in the middle, and that's a neutral posture. But you're going to have to practice that 30 minutes a day. to find out where the balance is. So I have the orange stick here. I'm going to get a white one so you can kind of see it better. What you can do is get one of these sticks, place it right in the center of your arches, get your shoulder width apart stance, okay? I got my right foot 90 degrees to the line, I got my left foot opened up. I got my shoulder width apart stance for the typical 5-iron. And I'm gonna slightly just sit down. And as I sit down about 2 inches, I'm gonna make sure my weight goes, my butt sticks out a little bit. And now I can wiggle my toes. And the weight feels like it's directly on top of these 2 sticks, right in the middle of my arches. And we're going to talk more in detail about this next week in the backswing. But if I was to take my backswing right now, the weight transferring, so I have the weight equally aligned in right on my ankle. The ankle bone, that's really where the center of the weight should be at. As I take my backswing, the weight's going to roll to the rear, inside of the right foot, the trail foot, towards the heel and the arch. So in between the heel and the arch, just an inch or so past the ankle bone on the backside. So that's where the weight's going to go on the back, and I'm not shifting. I am turning and I'm squatting down. So if our semi-sitting position in the stance of posture is maybe 2 inches or so on a sports stick, well, as I take my backswing, I'm going to squat down maybe an inch or 2 and load that weight into my glute. And since I have this right foot at 90 degrees, it's a governor, so I don't have too much rotation, because we're going to talk more about that next week. We want to have this torsion between the upper and lower body so that we can release that power. So the weight goes to the back heel, and then also the weight on my front foot goes to the ball. As my knee bends in, the weight goes on the front foot to the ball of that foot, and then on a downswing, the weight is going to, so as you notice, as I get to about right here, or to about right here, I'm already starting my downswing weight shift. Weight's already in the front foot. Before I complete my backswing, weight's already in the front foot. Now, what I want to do is I want to drive that weight to the ball of the left foot, because that's where it's at, on the backswing. I'm going to drive it to the ball of the foot, and then as I turn, then the weight is going to go to the rear heel of the trail of the lead foot. That's where the weight transfers. And then the weight is going to go from the back heel of the right foot to the ball of the left foot, ball of the right foot, and it's going to push off, and this knee is going to push off, and that's the ground forces that we're going to use to get more power, more stability, more balance dynamically through the swing. And then my weight is pushing off that trail toe, and it's driving into the outside of the left heel, the lead heel, and then boom, I've got my weight all the way in the front, right up there. So that's the semi-sitting position, just to make sure we're getting in a good posture for stability and balance. And it's the same thing when we train fitness, just this foot goes out over here, loading up whatever side we're working on. Above all, his knees must be properly flexed. The legs must be supple but at the same time, they must have live tension. Live tension. We got a linebacker in the group. He knows a lot about the linebacker stance. Talk about live tension. When you're a shortstop linebacker or anybody defensive back, you have live tension legs to be able to go whichever way you need to go quickly. And so you want to have your knees involved, live tension. The knees must be properly flexed. What else? Do not use your hips as you bend your knees. You should bend your knees from the thighs down as your knees bend. Bend your knees from the thighs down. Bend your knees from the thighs down. The thighs down. So you're bending your knees here. Making sure your weight is equally balanced to the arches of your feet. And you can practice with your feet up, you practice with your heels up, and you get into balance, and you can play with that, what center of gravity feels like for you. Let's see here. What's up, Castillo? Let's move this little mouse up here and see what's going on here. I have so much trouble shifting the weight to the front and the backswing. Okay. So, David, do you have trouble doing this? I mean, without trying to do anything other than 60% effort, to slowly take it back and step through. I mean, if you're having trouble, so I just started martial arts. I'm 50 years old, never taken karate. Martial arts is nothing but motor patterns, just learning a new movement. So I don't know, I've been in there 2 days. And I still don't know what it is, but basically you just taking movements. You've got to take a movement. You've got to take a movement. I never knew how to do that until someone showed me how to do the movement, and I'm still no master. I'm not even close. I've been there 2 sessions, what, 30 minutes each session. So if you're having a challenge shifting the weight to the front in the backswing, then don't do it. I mean, 90% of the guys on the PGA Tour don't shift the weight in the backswing. They do both. Meaning what I mean by that is they get back here and then they start the downswing and they shift at the same time. Nothing wrong with that. I'm not here to teach you the right or wrong swings. But what I do, and what a lot of the great ball strikers in the past, to make sure that they had more control versus distance, like a Bubba Watson or a Patrick Reed or all those guys who can bomb it really long, or Vijay Singh. Vijay Singh, in his day, he practiced so much that he just worked on timing the shift and the turn, meaning the shift from shifting the weight from the trail side to the lead side. So shifting and turning. You don't have to do that, David, if you're having a hard time doing that. But if you want to train yourself how to do it, it's real simple. Since when I get to here, I'm already starting to shift my weight. It's the same thing as a step change direction drill. So just step change direction with a follow through. And you take your foot and walk through. You do that for, 15 minutes tonight, 15 minutes in the afternoon, and do that for 5 days in a row, you're going to have no problem shifting your weight. No problem whatsoever if you just do it over and over and over. So then what you do is you get to here, and instead of taking a full swing, your goal is when your arm gets to 9 o'clock, you should be thinking about. So in the distance wedge training we have in the members area, we talk about 7:30, 9 o'clock, and 10:30. So if I focus on my left arm to here, and I see that it's here, and I'm aware that it's here, I'm aware that it's right there, well then all I'm going to do is in my backswing, I'm just going to be aware of where that's at. And when it gets to that point right there, I'm going to start my downswing. So right here, I'm aware of what my left arm is doing. I'm going to start my downswing. Well, that's the same thing of being able to, shift your weight to the front and the backswing. So you start, instead of worrying about when you get to here to start shifting your weight, you just start it here with the distance wedge drill. Was that helpful, or can you train that this week and then let's get on a call and figure out how to fix it? Good question though, man, but you don't have to do that. I would say 90% of the guys on tour in 2020, they're still the traditional. They're shifting and turning at the same time. And then this is just what Hogan did. And I'm not here to tell you to change your swing or to do that, but Hogan was one of the best ball strikers for a reason, because he didn't have to do two things and rely on timing. The shift was already there. All he had to do was one thing: turn the hips. Turn the knees and the hips. Everything is glued together, tied in, and they just fall behind. The upper part of the trunk remains normally erect. So that's that C posture, S posture, neutral. This is what it means by just erect. So if you look in a mirror and you see you've got this, or you see you've got this, we'll just do some of these pelvic tilt exercises, and you'll see where your spine's at, and you get in a neutral area. You should feel a sense of heaviness in your buttocks. There should be more tension in your legs from the knees down. The lower part of your legs should feel very springy and strong, loaded with elastic energy. A bit more on the heels than on the balls of your feet. So yeah, we talk about from the knees down. This is the ground force, where you get your feet dug in the ground, and if you can visualize having spikes on the balls of your feet and the heels, and you just dig spikes into the ball of your trail foot, and you take a backswing, you're going to notice how strong and stable this is right there. And you're going to use that stability and that force and that tension and that torsion in the backswing, and then when you shift, then you can feel the spike in the ball of your left foot, your lead foot, and then you just turn. And Hogan also said, just make sure slightly a bit of your weight is on the heel. So we got our feet over these sticks, over the arches, slightly on the heel. What this forces you to do is when you come down, your weight transfers to the heel versus what most golfers do, early extend, because their weight's on the balls of our feet. So when we get back to here, and I shift down, the weight's on the heel, I keep my butt against the wall, and I'm able to drive this right forearm, that's the right forearm, comes right through the slot, everything's here, and down the line. Boom. With your arms normally extended, the head of the club will be raised about 4 inches above the ball. As you lower yourself in the semi-sitting position, the upper trunk should feel like it's an elevator dropping down the floor. The club descends as your trunk descends, and when you have completed the semi-sitting squat position, your club head should be about 1 inch or 2 above the ball. So here I am, arms fully extended, everything's tucked in the side, got a good grip. The club head is about 4 inches above the ball. I go into my semi-sitting position. Now it's about 1 inch above the ball. And then we would just drop our hands right in behind the ball. So about 3 or 4 inches above the ball, I get in my semi-sitting position. Now it's 1 inch or 2 above the ball, and then I would just place the club behind it. There we are. This is basic stuff, guys, but here's the thing. You're going to rise to the level of your challenges or your competition, or you're going to sink to the level of your training and your thinking to your practice. And this is your training, this is your practice. We'll talk more about thinking later in the call. So during the swing, the knees work towards each other. The right knee should be broken in a shade more than the left, if anything, and the left knee to the right. If the right knee is pointed in, then it's in business all the time. As far as the left knee, having it pointed in just a bit of the dress is the best insurance in the world for developing proper leg action on both the backswing and the downswing. So I've got stability here. I can feel the weight of my feet. I got a good posture, right? Left knee's in, right knee's in. And you don't have to do this. Hogan did this for a reason for his game. And so now that I got the right dialed in just a little bit more than the left, and then the left knee's going to come in. Well, David, if you start using your left knee more, it might be easier for you to shift your weight if you start getting that left knee in the action and let that start leading everything on your turn. Because my weight's already to the left foot. Boom. So we have this sequence. Feet, knees, hips, shoulders, arms, hands on the downswing. So if I get my knee involved, whereas if my knee doesn't move, there's a lot of guys that don't move their knee. They just use all this midsection for the power. No right or wrong, it's just what they've been trained to do. So knee moves in, I get to here, my weights are on the left side, I just fire my knee, hip. So look how this elbow just tucks right inside here. Right in the slot. Remember, it's turned open, and it's going to roll through. That's power. More power there. And how many times out of 1,000 can you do this? 1,000. The muscles to work with are the inside muscles, the muscles that stretch along the inside of the legs and thighs, the muscles along the inside of the arms. He goes in detail in the book that when you use the outside muscles, you get tension. And you can kind of feel that in your fingers. When you talk about the pincher finger, the left and the right thumb, you can feel the outside muscles. Those are swing wrappers, especially in the finesse wedges, finesse game. So if I get my stance and I have my knees pointed in, well, guess what? I'm activating the inside of my legs. And we all did the fitness evaluation. I had you do this little thing right here. Internal rotation of the trail leg. That's internal. This is external rotation of the trail leg. On the downswing of the left leg, this is internal rotation of the thigh. This is the external rotation. So we have you doing exercises to get more mobility in those areas and more stability in those areas. So when we get in our stance and posture, when I bend in my left leg, and then my right leg a little more, now I'm using the insides of these legs, and my feet are constantly training my feet to dig into the fucking ground forces. If you have your feet and this trail leg stable, it's 3 keys to playing great ball. having a kick-ass grip, making sure that your left shoulder, your lead shoulder, or if you're going to fire with your trail shoulder, you make sure that that shoulder fires down your line, and you make sure that you have stability in this trail leg, and downswing and the backswing, we're in a great sequence. That's no good. So if you can only time I hit bad shots at the tournament this weekend was bad sequence. Bad sequence and not having my shoulder lead where I wanted to go. It's lack of concentration. Okay, where are we at? Inside muscles of the lower leg and the upper body. So we want to make sure that we're using inside muscles here. And what we're doing this for a reason. We're activating power accumulation and pressure points. We want to get pressure here, we want structure. So the pressure, the inside muscles are squeezing inside. Pressure point number one is pressing down. So now I've got full structure, control, and I'll have a consistent radius. With a consistent radius, you'll have better ball striking. This is why we take great time to get in the right stance and posture, to step up to the ball. Now, if you're 4 inches above the ball and you have structure here, and you take great effort, and now I'm 4 inches above the ball, and I get in my semi-sitting position, and then I place the ball, and I do this every single time, there's less margin for error. Structure, less margin for error. Page 58. So there's an image. Image of the muscles being used right here, and then what it should look like over here. If you haven't bought this book, it's $12. Ben Hogan's 5 Lessons. We're going to be covering this for 7 weeks. We started last week. There's only 4 lessons in it, plus a recap. So 4 times 3, 4. So you do the grip for 21 days. You do the stance and posture for 21 days. You do the first part of the swing for 21 days. And you do the second part of the swing and the down slip and the follow through for 21 days. And now you've got an ability to have a new unconscious habit. All right, that is cool. So that's it. So the head is bent comfortably. The left arm is fully extended. The right arm is slightly bent, but it's still tucking right here. It's slightly bent because this hand is lower. Left elbow points to the left hip bone. Right elbow points to the right hip bone. Arms are close together as possible. Knees pointed in. Right foot is perpendicular to the line. Left foot is pointed out. So stance and posture. Take your time, step by step. Any more questions? David Castillo, did that answer your question? So let's talk a little bit about mindset, energy management. So we all have certain expectations and then we have certain beliefs. And you might have an expectation to shoot great golf, but deep down, if your belief doesn't match it, it's going to be trouble. And I think Einstein said everything is energy, but really energy is everything. And so you have to choose your words wisely, what you say to yourself. You have to focus on what you want, and you have to make sure your physiology matches what you want. So as human beings, we think 70,000 thoughts every single day. and 95% of those are the same thoughts. Are those same thoughts? So what is that, 60,000? I'm gonna see the numbers because this is science times 95. That means that 66,000 thoughts are the same every single day. It means 3,500 are new thoughts. You know, oh, I wanna go on vacation, whatever it may be. So you gotta choose your words wisely. And you know, we played in the member guest Friday and Saturday. We had 3 matches on Saturday, 9 hole matches, and 2 matches on Sunday. So we're in the 8th flight, and we lost our first one. We won the second one, and then on Saturday. In the third match, we started on hole 9, and these guys were probably the best group at the tournament. Both went to college. One was 40, one was 26. They both played Division I golf, college golf. And on the third match, so it's a lot of mental grinding when you play, you know, 27 holes, better ball. So they hit the fairway, they struck the green, and they made a birdie. And we finished, and I'm like thinking to myself, we're gonna get smoked like 6-0. And my playing partner, God love him, he's like, man, this is awesome. You're gonna play the best golf of your life because you love competition and you rise to the level of your challenges. And it was that quick, just like that, where, you know, I'm pretty competitive and I'm assessing, you know, our chances, and that's what we do, our expectations and our beliefs. I was expecting to get trounced, but deep down believing that, you know, I'm a fucking good golfer and I could beat those guys one-on-one anytime I wanted to. That's what my belief is, and it's true. And so he made a quick shift. It's like, Dean, you're going to play the best golf of your life because you thrive for competition and you rise to the level of your challenges and you sink to the level of your training and your thinking, meaning I train, you train with me to master these skill sets, and we build on your physiology, we build on your focus, we build on the words you use wisely, we build on your emotions, that you are superior ball strikers, that you've trained how to read a green, you train how to hit your line, you train how to control your distance, you train how to grip the golf club, you train stance and posture, you trained all this stuff. And the more and more you train it, becomes a subconscious habit. It becomes a subconscious habit. So getting back to that match, they won that first hole, and I don't think, let's see, we won 2, no, we parred the next one. Then I birdied the next hole. My partner won the next hole, so we're up 2-1. Then we tied the other one. We tied one. So we beat the best group out of everybody out there, 2-1. And it boils down to your thoughts have a key to everything. Your training is critical, right? You gotta be good at what you do, and this is why you're going through the program. This is why you're getting the coaching. This is why you're getting the training. But your thoughts have everything to do. Where my first thought after those guys made that birdie, I'm like, fuck, we're fucked. We're gonna lose 6-0. And then I had someone kick me in the ass, say, dude, you're gonna play the best golf ever. And when you come with that mindset to where you have expectations and you have beliefs that match those, like my beliefs match that we could kick their ass. But in that split moment of time after seeing the results, I'm like, okay, we're in some trouble. So just be cautious of the 70 thoughts that you think per day, and 66,500 are the same. Make sure those same thoughts are gearing more towards the positive and what you want in your future. So that's all I have for you today. Go back and do the recap of the grip. Spend the next, so you're going to spend, you know, now that you've got the grip for 30 minutes a day for a week, you can dial it down to just 5 or 10 minutes, just practicing the grip. Now, over the next 7 days, you're going to spend 30 minutes in this chapter on stance, lesson 2 of getting in the right stance and posture. You're going to do it for 30 minutes a day for the next 7 days, in addition to your other training. And then we're going to cover the next week, we're going to get into the first part of the swing. And we'll cover that next Saturday at 11 a.m. Eastern time. For those of you that are in your 4 weeks or 8 weeks or 12 weeks or 16 weeks or 20 weeks, wherever you're at, get on my calendar. If you're having trouble, let's have a one-on-one, man. I'm here to support you. I'll see you guys next week.